Hello, I'm RetroJules, and welcome to World of Tanks, and welcome to my garage. This is the mighty British Matilda, a tier 4 medium, a solid lump of heavily armoured iron with an unrelenting rapid fire cannon. It's the most heavily armoured tier 4 tank. In fact, at tier 4 you would pretty much class this as a heavy. So as far as armour is concerned, it's got 75mm on the front, 70 at the sides and 55 at the rear. Excellent armour. And on the turret it's got 75mm all round. A KV-1 at tier 5 will not penetrate this tank. Now it's also got an excellent gun. It's got 121mm of penetration, which takes you right up to tier 6, and you can penetrate tier 6 tanks quite happily, but tier 6 tanks can also penetrate you quite easily. Now with that 121mm penetration, you only do 55 damage. It really does chip away, but it's a rapid fire cannon. It's got a 2-second reload. So if you're at the end of a Matilda, you've got a shell coming at you every 2 seconds. It is unrelenting, and you do not want to be on the end of this cannon. It's got a good accuracy of 0.36, a good depression, and also a very good turret traverse, so you can track your enemy. And if you've got light scouting tanks trying to get round to the back of you, and good luck for them because they probably won't be able to penetrate you at the back either, then you stand a good chance of getting your reticle on them and taking them out. So that's the good news. All of that comes at a price. This tank, being heavily armoured and relatively small, with a not very powerful engine, is incredibly slow. It's got a top speed of 24 km per hour, and that's a downhill speed on smooth terrain. You do not want to go hill climbing with this. You do not want to take this tank on boggy ground because it is ridiculous. When you're starting the game, you also want to work your strategy out and where you're going to go on the map, because the chances are, because this tank is so slow, if you go in the wrong direction, you are not going to have time to turn around and readjust. You almost want to just aim in a direction of the map and go that way, stick with it. And don't be surprised if you go the wrong way and you don't see any action whatsoever. That's just one of the prices you pay for this tank. It's very slow because of the small engine. Its power to weight ratio is actually worse than the tier 10 German Maus. It's that bad. Now, it is heavily armoured, and there are weak spots on this tank, and you really do need to know them. You've got the commander's cupola at the top of the turret, which is a pretty obvious one. At the side of the tank, which is still very well armoured, you aim for the square holes along the sides of the tracks. You'll get penetration through there. You will get penetration at the lower rear plate at the back of the tank and the bottom half of the fuel tank. And if you're aiming for the front of this tank, which isn't a great idea, all you can pretty much aim for, apart from the cupola, is the driver's hatch at the front. There's a square metal plate at the point of the V, which you can penetrate. But if the tank is angled, the chances are you just won't get through there. Now the equipment I carry on this tank is a set of binoculars, just to give me a decent view range when I'm static, because the view range on this tank is pretty poor. I've got a camo net on it, which is completely pointless. You do not want to be hiding in this tank. It's slow enough without stopping and putting your camo net on. And I've got ventilation just to improve anything else I can. What I should do is ditch the camo net, put a gun laying drive on, just to get that reticle aiming a little bit quicker, to try and keep up with the fantastic rate of fire, or possibly coated optics, just to give you a little bit more view range. So that is the mighty Matilda. Let's roll her out. We're on El Haluf and it's raining. We're in our tier 4 British medium, the Matilda. and it's a standard battle, and we're top tier. Hurrah! So we're going to head straight along the north of the map, to the northwest to A1, and come right round down to about H3. And by doing this, we don't have any steep climbs, because this tank is not suited to steep climbs. Now, as you can see, we're doing a nice 24 kilometers per hour, but just bear in mind that is downhill. So we've got two light tanks ahead of us, so hopefully they'll do a nice bit of spotting. And all that mud is going to make my camera lens really filthy. If we were to go down sort of into the basin of this game, we would be a sitting duck. Even though we're heavily armoured, we'd probably get away with it, but climbing out would be an absolute nightmare. And you will see in this game, it takes us pretty much half the game to get from one side of the map to the other. And this is where you've got to commit in the Matilda, because if you do that, and you're the last tank and the enemy cap, there's absolutely no way you're going to get back. So it really is quite crucial in this tank to think of your strategy and pick a direction and stick with it. And if you don't see any action, then it's just hey ho, one of those things. So there's an M5 Stuart coming, and we've got a light tank out just to our left. So we're going to come around the back of these rocks here. And it looks like he's coming our way, so we'll get ready. He will not penetrate us. And dreadful shot.
Target locked. Enemy armor is
there we go, and he pings off us. And get used to pinging in the Matilda, it's a lovely sound, as enemies just cannot penetrate your heavy armour. So we're just coming close to the rocks here because we don't want Artie getting a sniff of us, because we're quite an easy target for Artie. Even though we're relatively small on the map, we are slow. So we're just hoping to come round and help finish off the tank destroyer and the light tank. Come round and flank them. The light tank's gone, and yeah, so is the tank destroyer. And that's sometimes what can be a little bit frustrating with the Matilda. When you get there, all the action is over. But we've committed ourselves, this is the route we're taking, and that is exactly what we'll do. And currently we have one penetrating shot. Hardly mind-blowing, I know. So there's 6 tanks on either team. Sorry, 6 tanks taken out on either team. So it's 8 per side. It's very even. And we're pretty much the only tank on this side. And we're top tier, we're heavily armoured. It's a risk we can take. And there we go, see, a slight incline, and we're right down to 11 kilometers per hour. It can be quite tedious. So there's a tank destroyer down the bottom, but he's sort of just to the other side of the village, so we're not going to get a line of sight on him. So there's nothing we can do there. So we shall carry on regardless. We just saw Artie firing there from the back. So we've got a rough idea where he is.
All Allied artillery has been obliterated.
And there's Artie.
Locked on.
And I think he's behind a hill or a dip, and he launches a shot and misses, so he knows we're here. We've lost artillery completely. That's better. 2,
That one left a big hole.
3. You just don't want to be on the end of that. You've got no time to manoeuvre, wriggle out the way. He's just got this unrelenting shot every 2 seconds. Now, DW2, he can't penetrate the front of us. He does not have the penetration.
We got him.
And we're doing all this on auto aim because we've got good penetration. It's such a rapid fire. I tend to auto aim an awful lot in the Matilda.
Our team
We just completely cream him. And the cruiser behind gets a shot in, but not a chance, mate. I'm sorry.
loaded and ready.
You find yourself in front of the Matilda, you just know there's going to be a hail of shells coming at you. So there's one tank left. It's right over the other side of the map. Well, we're certainly not going to get there. But this is where the accuracy of the Matilda comes in quite handy. There he is.
Ready to fire on
He
target.
takes a shot, we auto aim, finish him off from that distance, and that's it. So we end up destroying 4 tanks
Another
and 14 penetrating hits. So even though it was a slow start and took us a long time to get anywhere and see any action, we did get some action. It was very beneficial for our team. 22,000 silver, that's alright. 1100 XP, and we came top, and the top 2 guys were playing the Matildas, so 2 Matildas took out 8 tanks between them. We're on Ruinberg. It's a capture the base, an encounter battle, and hurrah, we're top tier again. And we like being top tier in the Matilda. Make no mistake, if you've got a tier 6 game, you can penetrate tier 6 tanks, but you are going to be just nibbling away at their health. They're going to know exactly where you are, and before you know it, an almighty shell is going to be coming your way. And you don't have the manoeuvrability to avoid them. But we don't have to worry about that, because we're top tier. So I'm heading straight into the city, and you can see we're up to 23 kilometers an hour, and keeping it that way. It's a nice flat map, we're on nice hard ground. So we're going to have no problems keeping this tank rolling. And I'm heading for the cap, basically. Because of my armour, I'm quite happy to head in that direction, where I'm guessing most people will focus. Or if not, we can sit in the cap, put a bit of pressure on, and they can come flying in and face our wrath. There's the cap in the distance. We're very spread out as a team, and so are they. Nobody seems to be really focusing on the cap, except for us.
Throwing up the camo net.
And 2 of our other guys.
Loaded and ready.
So that's me not looking at my mini-map and working out where that light tank was. I thought he might just be the other side of the wall. In fact, he wasn't even in the city. Right, so we're coming up to the cap. And we could do one of 2 things. We can just sit outside and wait. Or we can sit inside and wait and put some pressure on. So we've got a Chiha over the back and a Valentine round the corner. Well, that's an easy target. So we're in the cap. Their air raid siren will be going off.
Enemies looking right at
And we
us.
bounce the shot. Of course we bounce the shot. We're in a Matilda. And this is where we're just going to keep pushing shots in. I don't push around too far because there's plenty of enemies here. And
Looks like that one went straight
the Panzer II just rolls on by like we're not even there.
enemy.
Well, he's going to wish he saw us.
That one drilled straight through.
One in his engine, And we finish him off. Well, that's 2 kills in very rapid succession.
One of our vehicles destroyed.
And there's the Chiha. We get a shot in and he's finished off. And there's a Matilda. And when you're a Matilda coming up against a Matilda, that's when you really need to know the weak points, because you cannot penetrate a Matilda front on with the Matilda cannon. So what do we aim for? We aim for the engine. And in they go. Doesn't stand a chance. And that's how you take the Matilda out. And there we go. We won easily. Bit of a slaughter actually. 15 penetrating shots. 3 tanks killed. 24.5 grand in the bank. 1100 XP. And we came second. So that's the Matilda. When you're top tier, it's an awesome tank.